much. Y'all may have a seat. We're not going to sing today. We're limited on time. I want to say, I heard that over there. I want to say that we have a long list today of visitors, and I'm very excited about that. So thank you guys. Roxanne, would you please stand and tell us who your visitor is?
My visitor today is Scott Kernard. He's an attorney here in Greenville, and he's a good friend of mine, and our daughters went to dance together when they were 2 years old.
All right, thank you, and welcome, Scott. Dawn Clark has a very beautiful guest today, and she plays a wonderful nun as well.
There you go.
My wife, Karen.
Katie Williams, you have a whole host of guests today. You're going to have to stand in front of your own camera,
This
Katie.
will be interesting. So I have Kaylina Crossley with the United Way of Hunt County, as well as the Wolf City Food Pantry, Maxine Haywood, and Sandra Woodruff.
Welcome, welcome. Okay, we're going to go ahead and head on to Happy Bucks. Who is happy today?
Okay, raise your hand quickly. Okay.
I'm happy that David made me be happy because he didn't have change over there for the tickets, so I'm just happy.
Okay, here we go. I'm going over there, Tracy.
I was in Chicago last week,
Oh.
and the weather was amazing. When I left here, it was 96. When I got there, it was 65. I was happy.
That is nice. Okay, Tracy.
Okay, for those of you who've been anywhere near my Facebook page, you all know what this week is. It's Bras for the Cause tomorrow. This is shamelessly bragging.
Vote for number 6.
Vote for number 4,
Six.
number 4, number 4,
Six.
number 4, and 35, which is Eleanor's Protects Bubbles one.
All right, very good. Larry.
Well, I too was out of town last week. I was in Indianapolis, Indiana on Wednesday, and I seen my 2 grandbabies there, and I got to see the other 6 in Missouri with the one up. So I'm happy. Got to see all of my grandbabies
Nice.
in one trip.
That's wonderful. Okay, moving to this side of the room.
All right, I've got 4 quarters, even though the Cowboys don't. I'm putting that in. But actually, what I'm happy about is I got to make a wonderful trip to see the fall colors last weekend up in New England. It was absolutely beautiful with my family. It was great.
That's good.
My happy.
That is wonderful.
Where did you go in New England?
Oh,
No? Okay, these guys are all set. Clint?
just happy.
Okay, Clint's happy. All right, Troy, I know he's happy.
And hopefully the president won't talk over me while I'm shamelessly plugging my bras entry. Anyway, it's number 85. Look for Iron Mams.
Okay. Okay, Duncan's throwing in. Oh. All right, I'll take it anyway. I don't know if I drink that tea though. But... Okay, oh, we're going back this way. I'm going over here, Kami.
Well, you know I can't be outdone. It's number 67, driving Miss Stacy to get her mammogram.
Oh, that's good. All right. Anybody else? Yeah, going. All right. Let's do the deck of destiny. All right. Who's going to draw our ticket? Oh, Scott. He gets to pull. Okay. Holler the number out loud.
This one? Yep. 347829.
829.
829, who has that one?
Oh. Must,
Ah!
it is.
So that's the trick. Stick them in your purse.
Okay.
All right, here we go. We're going to get the ace.
there because I checked it.
Oh, she got it!
It's Ace of Clubs.
He's nailed it! Throw them here on the stage. It looks like it.
Guys, remember, look for the Ace of Spades. That was the closest we've been in a long
And
time.
that is close.
Very good.
But close doesn't count in this
Back to you, Katie.
deck of destiny. Thank you very much. Alrighty. We have an action-packed day today. We have 2 check presentations, we have 2 red badges, and we have 3 Rotarians that are going to be standing up here talking about their classification. So I would like to, at this point, invite David Weiland up. He will be doing the first check presentation. So I would like to ask that Kami get her camera set because she will be coming up with Maxine Haywood and Sandra Woodruff from the Wolf City Food Pantry. This
Ladies,
is money
would you come
that
up
you
here?
collected in
Sarah and Maxine.
our Happy Bucks. Come on up here.
I've got to tell you, this is one of the more enjoyable duties that I have in the Greenville Rotary Club. We get to give away our money. And ladies, you've just seen what we've just done. I want to tell you how we got that money. The Happy Bucks, where people pay to make announcements and brag on grandchildren and so on and so forth. The Greenville Rotary Club Board of Directors designated Wolf City Food Pantry for 2 months of the collections. And doing that, we garnered $189. And we thank you for what you do. And with the attitude of serving that you two have, I think you make good Rotarians, because our motto is service above self. But congratulations on that, and we know you will spend the money wisely.
I appreciate it. I don't know if you know it or not, but we get our food from the North Texas Food Bank, and this $189 will go a long way because it's 14 cents a pound for the food we get. So it will go a long way, so we appreciate it.
Is that all? Can you buy me $50 worth? Okay, thank you, ladies. Did you get a picture? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So at this time, I'm actually going to invite Keith Burns up, and he is going to do our 2 red badge presentations first.
Okay, what a wonderful pleasure it is to welcome new members to the club. And today we are going to bring 2 ladies up that are our newest members, and we're going to welcome them, learn a little bit about them, and tell them a little bit about what is about to take place for them to receive their red badge and what they need to do to receive their blue badge. So we need Miss Cynthia Ard and Miss Kelly Aiken to come up. Thank you, ladies, for being here. For Kelly and I, she doesn't know this, but we were supposed to give her red badge, and she'd be here, and I wouldn't be here, and then the next week it'd be just the opposite, and we finally decided to leave the dead gum badge here. We'd catch her somewhere or another. But, ladies, what we are doing, we welcome y'all to the club. We are thrilled to have y'all, and today we're kind of inducting you to your first step that we will do. We're going to present a red badge to you, and that red badge is temporary. And we have a worksheet that we want you to work through. Hopefully in like the first 90 days you'll be here in the club. Just things that we ask you to do, to change, sit at different tables, join a committee, attend a board meeting, just different things to get you orientated to the club. So today is the first step for that. I'm going to introduce each lady here and give them their red badge, and we have small bios on each one of them. And so for Miss Kelly Aiken, she sent to me that she grew up an Army brat, graduating from Nuremberg American High School. Her undergraduate degree was completed at the University of Texas, Tyler, where she met her husband, Joey. They have 2 boys, Joseph and Andrew, who both attend UT Tyler, and they also have a beautiful granddaughter, Callaway. And one thing you may not know about Kelly is that she used to run a crisis center for sexual assault and family violence victims before attending law school. She has a passion for helping and serving others based upon her desire to honor and glorify her Savior, Jesus Christ. She currently serves as judge for Hunt County, and I'd like to introduce to you Ms. Kelly Aiken. Kelly, here is your red badge. Like I say, that is temporary. I'm in charge of this, but you actually came in right before I took this over, so you have been assigned a mentor. Do you know who that mentor is? And we will take care of that today. We will get is it David? Okay. And David's going to work with you, working through these steps to get you to your blue badge, and then very soon we'll be standing up here and we'll take that red badge away and we'll give you your permanent blue badge. So ladies and gentlemen, y'all welcome Judge Kelly Aiken. And then we are also very proud to bring Cynthia into our group. She is with the Salvation Army. We had Major David Hodge beforehand, and I think he retired or moved on or did something, but he's not with us. And so Cynthia is the new Service Center Director for the Salvation Army. She was born in Beaumont, Texas. She is married and has 3 kids that are 15, 18, and 20. I'm glad those days are over for me. What are the names of your kids?
Hannah, Christian, and Brittany.
Good deal, good deal. And Miss Cynthia, here is your red badge. And again, that is temporary. We hope very soon to be putting your blue badge on you. David, I believe, is also your mentor. If you do not have your checklist, David or I, will get it to each of y'all. Good deal. And we will work through that. And we ask you to do that fairly quickly. Like I said, within the first maybe 90 days or so. It's not hard to do. So ladies and gentlemen, y'all please welcome Miss Cynthia R. And our newest 2 members to our Rotary Club. From the membership committee, y'all keep inviting people, not just the membership committee, but everybody. We need lots of guests, and that way we convert them to new members. And I hope you ladies will be very happy with us. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, now, as promised, it's over there. Not as promised, give him a minute. So let me go ahead and I'm going to make a couple of announcements while David is preparing for our second check presentation of the day. I would like to invite all of you to help us this weekend with the Haunted Landmark. And I know some of you say, well, that's not my cup of tea. But this weekend is going to be especially needful. We're going to be a little bit shorthanded, especially on Saturday night. And the fire marshal has visited the Haunted Landmark and said that we need to have a Rotarian in the breaker room at all times. This is a seated position. So surely there's somebody that would be willing to sit in the breaker room. We've got one volunteer. And you don't have to dress up or scare anybody, because honestly, the Rotarians that did it this past weekend, people were scared just by you sitting there. So it doesn't really matter. But we are going to be shorthanded, and we do desperately need for a few Rotarians to come down and help us out, grab a mask, let me make you up and into a zombie. So I would like to see a number of hands right now who would be willing to volunteer this weekend. I see a bunch of looking up at the sky and looking everywhere else. Okay, anybody else over in, I'm sorry? There's not a sheet. It show up at 5 o'clock on Friday and or Saturday. You do not have to work both nights. I would like participation in at least one for as many people as we can get. You don't have to put makeup on if you don't want to. We've got plenty of really ugly, scary clown masks and other things if you would prefer. But we will be shorthanded with Rotarians this weekend, so we really, really need some participation if you would be willing to be there. Just be there downstairs at 5 in the costume room. And going right along with that is on your table, we have the community service report. So just think of all of the community service hours that you can put on your form next week if you're working in the haunted house this weekend, right? Please make sure to fill those out now today for the community service you've already done. And I think, are you ready? Okay, I would like to now invite David Weiland up. We have one more check presentation today.
Thank you. And before I do that, I want to say that Judge Aiken has already completed a great deal of her checklist on the way to the Blue Badge. She's had her new member orientation, and she drove a truck all day for the SAG, one of the SAG trucks during the Cot Pass Challenge, and she's done some other things too. So I've been giving the new member orientations, and I met Judge Aiken over at Ash and Rose, and we had lunch together, and she ate, I talked. And had one more there at the very same time. Leah Sandlin was there also, but we will accommodate any new members in any way we can in order to do the new member orientation. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and it's pretty easy to do, and I will accommodate you. All right, now I'm going to invite Mr. D. Hilton to come up. He's president of Tools for School. And we typically have Christy Horn here, but she was unable to make it, so she sent Mr. Hilton. He has been here before, gave a fine presentation some time ago about the Hunt County transportation needs. And Mr. Hilton, we have got $562 to give to you. Thank you. And the reason we've got that odd number, $62 of it was the Happy Bucks. So we designated the Tools for School 1 month. We garnered $62. In the graciousness of the Greenville Rotary Club's board, we decided to give Tools for School an additional $500. So $562. We try to support this project every year. I will confess that whomever did not contact me this year for the loading of the backpacks and the distribution, so we didn't do that. But we're perfectly willing if someone just contacts us ahead of time, okay?
We'll remember to do that. Okay. Say anything about that?
Well, I want to thank you on behalf of the 1,200 to 1,400 students in Hunt County that get backpacks each year, loaded with school supplies, and it really makes a difference. And if some of you have been there, I think some of you have, for the distribution, you see the smiles on the faces of the students as they get those. So thank you again for supporting this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for what you do.
You need to tell me when you're taking the photo.
Hold on. I figured with all this, you were ready.
I wasn't
all the
ready.
Time. I'm gonna use the other one.
Katie gets to choose which one you use too,
Yes.
I think. Yes, sir. Glad to do it. I'll give you that. Suppose Will give you the real estate.
Okay, just being honest there. All right. Okay, I would like to now invite Gloria up. She is going to be introducing the classification speakers for today and announcing what we're doing.
Classification talks, for those of you who are new, are talks about your industry, a little bit about yourself, but mostly about your industry, what's going on, and I'll be selecting people, trying to do everybody this year. But today we are going to start with Colleen Smith, Bob Arrington, and Katie Ridge are going to do their classification talks. I'm also going to try each time we do it to make diverse industries. So we've got insurance and accounting and leisure, boats and stuff like that.
What's that?
Colleen, you want to do yours first?
Bob wants to be last, he said.
Oh, Bob wants to be last.
And you've each
Bob
got about
has
15
notes.
minutes.
You told me 10.
10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, good. I don't know if I can do that.
Everybody would leave for Bob if we did
Right.
15.
Okay, y'all know I don't like public speaking, but since I'm talking about me, I'll make an exception. My name is Colleen Smith. I'm a partner with Conway Company CPAs. I've been working with Mike Conway for 22 years now. It took me 20 years to take his office away from him, but I have it. I have it. I'm in charge of the Greenville office. We do all kinds of accounting, everything. Right now we're busy doing tax returns. For all you people and myself who have not filed their tax returns, we got one more week. Yeah, they're still on time. They're still on time. But Gloria asked me, I said, well, what should I talk about? And she said, well, why don't you talk about the difference that computers have made in your business? I said, Gloria, how old do you think I am? You know, trust me, when I got out of college, we used computers, you know? Never have I done one by hand. I don't know if I know how or not. But when I first got out of college back in '94, The big deal was QuickBooks. And I had literally taught hundreds of people to use QuickBooks. And everybody can learn to use QuickBooks in one manner or another. Some are not very good at it. We call them job security because they have to keep coming back for more instructions. But we did that for about 20 years. Everything was about QuickBooks. Now it's about QuickBooks Online. Everything is going to QuickBooks Online. If you're a QuickBooks user, and trust me, you're going to be forced into a QuickBooks Online program. And if you've been using QuickBooks, the online version is very clumsy, very old school, very limited. It's like, why can't I just do what I want to do? Why do I have to go through all these processes that you want me to? But there are lots of benefits of QuickBooks Online. The good one is true, there is. One of the main ones is that it's easily accessible. If we have a client that's working on QuickBooks Online and they have a problem, they can call us up and we can just literally log in, fix the problem, and move on. You know, a lot of times that's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we got it fixed and we're moving on. You can also have your employees accessing it. So maybe you have an employee that's doing invoices or estimates or something like that. They can do it from a completely remote area, or while you're on vacation, you can just log in. Anywhere you have internet, you have QuickBooks Online, and that's a great thing. We don't, QuickBooks Online, you don't have to bring the backups back and forth. Anybody that's ever done, does anybody do QuickBooks around here? I know there's a few, not many, oh, a few. With QuickBooks Online, you don't have to take the file back and forth to your accountant. You don't have to go any days without being able to use your QuickBooks. Everything is just right there. You know, it's in the cloud. I don't know where that cloud's at, but that's where everything is these days. The good part about the main thing, the biggest change in accounting these days, and it just dawned on me today when I was thinking about this, Gloria, these new millennials, you gotta love them, right? They have to be able to do everything on their phone. You're going to run your business with your telephone? Okay, let me see what I can do for you. But with QuickBooks Online, you can. You can. You can do everything. You do your invoices on your phone. You shoot the invoice over to your customer. They pay you on their phone. It gets deposited into the bank, which you download into your QuickBooks Online from your phone. You know, your employees can log into their own phone and put in time, and it will go in your QuickBooks system on your phone. You know, the apps for the QuickBooks Online are just amazing. The T-Sheets, everybody's using T-Sheets, and that's the time cards app that works along with the QuickBooks Online. The other one is the expense account. If you have an employee that has an expense account, they can take a picture of their receipt and send it to you, and it will put itself into the QuickBooks Online. Expense itself, say you owe it to John Brown, it takes care of all that by itself. So your expense reports are already there. When you go to make their payroll, their expense request is already hanging out there waiting on you to pay. But it's just amazing. So I guess the biggest difference in the accounting world right now is the telephone. It's amazing what you can do with a telephone. And we're kind of getting used to it. I believe, where's Josue? Is that an app? I believe that's an app he's using for us to pay. It is an app.
We're online, QuickBooks Online.
Rotary is online. There you go.
Only
QuickBooks
because of
Online.
Josue, though.
I know.
If it weren't for him, we wouldn't.
Yeah, but that when you get your Rotary invoice and it's got that Pay Now button right there, which I'm sure somebody uses, right? That's that is the way you can be billing your clients. And you know the secret to survival for a lot of young companies, new small companies, is being able to get their money and get their money right now. And when you send it out, it comes back and it's done. And everything is automatic. Everything is automatic. It's crazy. So I would say that was the number one thing. I know that was like 6 minutes. That's all I can do. Right now we're doing tax returns. So I'm crazy and I'm looking sideways. So that's all I prepared for you today. I guess if you do have any questions, I got 4 minutes.
I've got one.
Okay.
I know everything's up in the clouds these days. I used to work in IT in the UK, and I always believe I don't care where my data is, I want a secondary or even tertiary backup of it. I mean, I used to work with systems where we had remote backups off-site and all over the place, and even now, even though I've got a lot up in the clouds, I will have a totally off-internet, off-network backup, anything that's really important.
Well, people don't do that anymore. No.
They just leave it in the cloud.
They just leave it in the cloud. Everything's in the cloud and there it stays. I don't know. That's true. That's true. People don't even, QuickBooks, that's one thing about, that they say is a good part about QuickBooks Online, is you don't have to make any backups because it's secured by Intuit. Which I thought was safe. Yeah, but nobody, that's something that people don't do. I know. We do, we back ours up. Anybody else? Got a quick question about QuickBooks Online? I know most of y'all are like, yeah, I'm not using that either. Okay, here you go.
Okay, I am going to let Bob come up and do his talk.
I walk really slow.
Did you start your time back there?
And talk really, oh yeah, when I got up. You know, isn't that the way you feel? And get my hair ready.
There you go. That's only for pictures, Bob.
Oh, I'm sorry. I joined this illustrious organization in 1993, May of 93, as a matter of fact, after having eluded Paul Matthews for almost a year. And those of you that know Paul, or knew Paul, know how industrious he was at building Rotary membership. But I had just finished 12 years in JC's when I finally hit the age limit in that group. So I needed a break, and my break was intended to be lifelong, okay? At 12 years of service, you think about that, 12 years of service, gosh, I needed a vacation. So a year later, I'm finding that I was taking Paul with some other people that he had invited into town on a tour of Lance Snack Foods. Anybody ever heard of Lance Snack Foods? The manufacturing facility out here, and that's where I was at that time. Paul kept just badgering and badgering and badgering, James is laughing, badgering me until I finally succumbed and joined Rotary. It's been a great time. It really has been, but I want to revert back to Lance for just a moment. I spent 25 years and 3 months in that industry, learning how to be a baker. I actually started on the shipping dock. And when I left in 96, I believe it was, and you're going to see some overlaps here, but when I left in 96, I was the general manager. So there were a lot of changes that occurred in my life at a very young age during that period of time. And from 93 to 96, I was a Rotarian, as well as some other commitments that I had going on at that point in time, like a new business that my wife had started in the boating and marine industry. So I worked for Lance during the daytime. I worked for my wife at night and weekends. So my relaxation lasted all of 12 months in between those two clubs and all of my new jobs and activities. I do have, having worked for Lance, I actually have a master baker certificate somewhere at home in a file. And I do cook most of the meals at home, by the way, ladies. Yay. I know some of you know that.
Real
Some of you
men-
know that because
real men
Barbara
cook.
Yeah, real men cook, that's right. I don't do dishes. That's for the dishwasher and or the dishwasher. But Barbara and I got into the marine business. We literally fished the tournament trail for 20 years. Barb fished the National Bass and Gal Tour. Many of you probably don't know that. A lot of you do, but she literally traveled all over this southern United States going to bass fishing tournaments by herself. A vehicle, a boat, a trailer, and did that for 4 or 5 years pretty regularly. As a matter of fact, in 1990, she was ranked 4th in the nation out of all the women fishermen. So that's how we got into the marine business. Kicking and dragging and screaming me along with her, but anyway, that's what happened. Oh, by the way, I was in a boat yesterday morning on the water. Not today because I had to come here, but being on the water is a pretty nice way to spend your life. Probably some of the difficult things that we're facing in our industry right now, and Katie had a good list of negative issues that you have to deal with every day, day in, day out. Staffing right now in my industry is very, very difficult. Finding young people that want to, one, work outside. Think about that. 2, actually work in a blue-collar type of atmosphere, which I highly, highly recommend. Some of these technicians make $70,000, $80,000 a year. You know, no college education, but with the appropriate training that they need to do the job. You know, it's not a bad way to live. On the water, still get paid, not bad. The problem is right now the manufacturers are laying all of the effort and all of the responsibility on the dealers to provide the new incoming technicians, the new incoming rigging people, you know, every level of our particular business, and that puts a huge burden on the business itself. I think the average cost today, if I remember the numbers that I looked up right, if you have to replace an employee in general terms, is about $4,000. The training, insurance, if you have insurance, you know, et cetera, benefit packages and whatever. That's a pretty expensive upfront cost just to have a new employee come in. And unfortunately in our industry, there are no one, literally no one coming in. Colleges are not preparing these kids. I've had young men come to me with a BA that are not analytical thinkers. They can't figure out a problem, and that's very difficult, but it seems to be more and more of an issue, not just in my industry, but kind of across the board. Really, truly encourage everyone to feed these people back to these technical jobs, back to these blue-collar jobs, back to be a welder, be a mechanic, be an electrician, be a HVAC person. You know, there are a lot of really good jobs out there for these folks if they just apply themselves and go through the training process. Computers. Everything about computers affects us all, including the ones that are pointed at me right now. Cloud's scary. One of the entities that was mentioned a while ago had a breach of information, and that's scary when a big entity has a breach of information and your personal data is out there in the cloud. So, and unfortunately, most all of us are there now. You know, it's just a matter of who researches that material and puts it to work, positively or negatively. My entry in computers, my mom worked for Texas Instruments. So, unlike Colleen, who never did anything without a computer, I face the times when I go to school and I'm in mechanical drawing, things like that, and I bring in a scientific calculator to calculus or whatever the classes were back then, and the teacher says, "Oh no." I see faces back here doing that. Oh no. You can take that back home. You can use it at home, but you're not going to use it here. Here you take, I don't know, however many pages it was for Pythagorean's theorem or whatever, you know, as you go through all of these different maths that we do. So you know, that's the way I learned. I didn't have a computer. I had to go to school as a 40-something to learn how to use a computer. I hate to have these little breaks, but if I drag my feet, I've still got you here, and it's actually 101. Ethics in any business, not just my business, but every business, whether it's accounting, whether it's insurance, whether it's being a boat dealer, extremely important. And being a Rotarian, being part of this service industry, treat your customers right, they'll do well by you. I can't tell you any other thing. Do the right thing. You know, you have to measure that by cost, certainly, you know, but do the right thing. That's what it's all about. The passion that I have with Rotary, probably, and I'm sorry, the video that we had didn't work, CAM school. Those of you that heard Kim talk last week a little bit about the CAM school and now the CAD school, and it's a difference of CAM or CAED, but it's a continuing education level high school for these kids that are coming out of the CAM school. I really, truly encourage all of you to attend. Try to go if you can. Be a part of that project. You'll never forget it. You'll never forget it. Some of you have seen in the past how passionate that I am about that. But if you can, attend. Anybody have any questions? Can't believe I've held you over. James.
With Demetrius being a member of Rotary and us being in Northeast Texas with the lakes, why don't you push him to change the auto program that's in the school to include Marine?
I would love to see that. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons that you don't see that happening, James, at that level is that most of the big dealerships now, and we don't think about this because we all grew up going to dealerships that didn't have it. Most of them have air-conditioned shops. You drive in, the door goes down, you're in this wonderful environment. You're making 60, 70, maybe 80,000 a year if you're a master tech in an air-conditioned environment and not working outside. I didn't get this tan because I was sitting at my desk. So, you know, that's part of it. That's part of this industry. So I have talked to them about that before, and I've actually had some of those kids come work, do summer work and things like that, and they're great people. They really are. But their heart is in going to work for Mercedes to make really big bucks. And that's the number one response that you usually get from them. We want to work for Mercedes. If you can get on their list and make their cut, that's a great life.
But they could learn to wear shorts all year long.
That's right. That's absolutely right. My clothing costs are pretty minimal. A t-shirt and a pair of shorts. And I did change tennis shoes before I came in because the others are really, really bad. But anyway, that's what that's all about. James, that's a good point. Someone else had a hand up back here. Okay. Bye. Were you waving bye? Thanks, Lane. Thank you all much.
Okay, I just have one last thing very quickly. I would like everybody in here that is either working at Bras for the Cause tomorrow or has made a bra to raise your hand. Look at the number of Rotarians that are involved in Bras for the Cause. If you did not make a bra or you're not already scheduled to work tomorrow, I want you to go down and vote for number 6. But vote tomorrow night downtown. All right, that's Rotary for today.
No. Oh yeah, I remember reading that last week.
I did.
This video has been brought to you by Juice 34. Juice is your community-owned provider for electric, internet, cable TV, and true local programming.